Welcome to Marketing Magazine Exclusive. Today we've had a fantastic meeting with Dr. Rezal, and he has single-handedly built the nanotechnology market in Malaysia. And I just want to let Dr. Rezal actually say a few words.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my name is Dr. Rezal. I'm sure you have the reason why we are here because you know who I am. Yeah. But to put it in a nutshell, I would like to put myself more of a certain brand. I have a PhD in nanotech. So in the past, my endeavor in nanotech was sponsored by Khazanah National. I was a scholar. I came back in 2011, and I was trying to find my place in the industry.
What did you do before you came back to Malaysia? What were you doing?
Well, I spent 3 years pursuing a PhD degree at London Centre for Nanotech.
Right.
At that time, I think the government of Malaysia through Khazanah had the foresight to see nanotech to be something which Malaysia should embrace in a few years' time. So they sent me as a guinea pig, the first PhD scholar, to the UK to bring back the knowledge, technical knowledge, and some business competency, acumen to see how we can converge these two values together: technology, business, and see how the country can monetize out of it. Yeah. Right. So I came back working with Khazanah, trying to understand the whole ecosystem, the investment landscape, how the country has invested in the R&D, innovation, technology, industrialization. Then discovered I was more of a better fit if I were to start something on my own. Then came one day when I was flipping through the Star newspaper, and then I saw MOSTI, Ministry of Science and Innovation. They launched this Nano Malaysia program initiative. It was in August. I said, hey, wait a minute.
They're speaking my language.
Exactly. I mean, the stars are aligning. I have a PhD degree in nanotech, and they're launching this Nano Malaysia program. They're thinking about mainstreaming nanotech to be a new economic resource for the new economic model. So, great. So I took the first step of being an entrepreneur. I pitched myself without any sense of shame or embarrassment. I went straight to MOSTI. Gave them a phone call, say, hey, I'm interested. Let me see, or let me meet the person in charge. So, call up the next day, drove my car, banged through the door, say, okay, sir, I'm ready for this. I have a PhD degree in nanotech. I want to take this initiative and I feel I'm ready. So, let me in. Then a month later, they called me for an interview, the board, the chairman and whatnot. So they offered me a deal. Okay, fine. You can work for us. You'll be on probation for 6 months. But we allow you to be under the secondment from Khazanah for 2 years. So Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar was gracious enough to cover for my salary for the 2 years. So that created some kind of a financial cost saving for the company. So that was the first step. Okay, understanding about how you manage costs and whatnot. So to allow this company, which is essentially was a startup agency, to grow. Right. So I can use the resources given by the government back then to focus on building a team, right, and crafting out the correct business model and try to understand how the ecosystem works and how we can facilitate the industry to embrace this game-changing tech, which is nanotech.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me a story, a story that our viewers can appreciate and actually take insights and run with it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, taking off where I left off earlier on. So no beds and roses. There's a lot of thorns along the way. So I embraced the challenge of being an entrepreneur. Okay, starting this company from scratch with a very limited funding. We only had 7 million to fly with. So in the context of developing the whole value chain of industry, 7 million is nothing. Right. It's very nano scale, so to speak. So I had no choice but to pitch through knowledge. So armed with only my technical training in nanotech, so I had to pitch to the government. I have to go and pitch, literally, even though they set things up for me, but I had to say, hey, listen to me. I went to the Ministry of Science, I went up to see the Economic Planning Unit, convincing them that this is a value they should focus in. They should invest in me to allow me to manage the whole ecosystem, to allow for the industries in Malaysia, the startup, the SME, the large corporation, to believe in nanotech, to adopt it, to embrace it, so it becomes part of their products and processes, so they go to the next level of the value chain, so Malaysia can become competitive. So it was a long, winding road.
So because they would have had so many options to choose from if they didn't work with you, right? Or didn't go with nanotech even, other opportunities. Yeah. What did you do to actually get your point across and get your message across? What strategies do you employ?
It's simple. You have to speak their lingo. Okay. If you were to speak to a research scientist, it's all about technology, research papers, and whatnot. Things that they can understand. But when you start talking with the policymakers, people with deep pockets with money, you have to start to talk about monetization, commercialization, how it can benefit the country or a certain company economically. So if I were to pitch to you, so you could be a potential investor, or you could be an adopter to a technology which I think would be useful for you. I have to speak in terms that can relate to you. So for example, if you're a tire manufacturing company, and I have a game-changing nanotech solution to make your tire better, I say, sir, okay, with this technology, if I infuse in your existing tire, number one, your tire can last longer. With higher durable tires or longer lasting tires, you can go into new market sectors. You probably can put your tires in the middle of a volcano pit and it doesn't get destroyed. New market territory for you. Then translate, how do I monetize that? So new market territory, you get slice of market share, you translate that into yearly revenue. Then they get excited. So you have to start to converge the technology lingo and the lingo of the economists. Put them together, you get the buy-in from the policymakers, even the companies, startups, all the way to the big boys and girls.
Okay, here's a challenge.
Yeah.
If I were an entrepreneur just starting out now,
Yeah.
I have no idea the lingo of the policymakers, for example.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
All I know is all I know.
Yeah.
Right? What's your advice to someone like that who is very enthusiastic, has a great idea, has a great technology perhaps,
Sure.
but they're having a difficult time communicating their point across?
Oh yes, that has been pretty much the story of a lot of Malaysian entrepreneurs. The articulation of their ideas and making it work to their advantage. So my first advice is you need to start to look at, do some introspective and see how you can practice in expressing yourself clearly. But number one is you need to understand the whole ecosystem around you, first and foremost. If you're not able to articulate, fine. Understand the surroundings. Understanding which door to knock on. Because more often than not, you have an idea, but you feel that you're ready for the big time or the big investor, but you're not, you're just a startup. So you need to make sure you do enough research to knock on the right door because they are there. For example, you can start knocking on the door of an angel investor or a VC at an early stage. More often than not, we encounter fly-by-night entrepreneur. They come up with an idea, but they straight away knock on the bank's door. They start knocking on Maybank, say, hey, give me some loans. Say, hey, you're not there yet.
Right.
So having that knowledge about where to knock and what button to press is key.
Yes.
Once you're at the right door, the people who wish to help you be able to listen because they will accommodate to what you want because they will make the very best effort to connect and to find a middle path of which I'm trying to understand the value you bring in because I want to help you. Because more often than not, the investors at that particular value chain, they have a KPI to meet. They have to invest for that particular year. So they would want to find good deals. If they can unlock the value that you're trying to articulate, to express, even though with much difficulty, there's always a middle point. So if there is an evidence of you showing that passion, raw passion, and strong interest to meet somewhere in the middle, then you stand half of a chance to work. And that's what I went through.
Right.
Yeah, because I wing it. Literally, I had no business training, nor am I an economist. But I say, hey man, I'm armed with this knowledge. I know my sector. I know who are the players. Bang through the door. And you have to be convincing.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to be convincing. You're armed with knowledge.
You have to believe in yourself.
Exactly.
You believe you had a strong belief
Yeah.
in the technology
Yeah.
and their capability,
Yeah.
and all the rest.
Yeah, and you have to believe that this technology will spawn values that will also create the spillover effect, such as job creation. For example, if I were to talk to policymakers like the Economic Planning Unit, they're looking at how many jobs can create for the country and what will be the gross national income for the country to enjoy. So the income per capita would be raised by 2020.
Yes.
But from the startup perspective, it's all about how I'm going to improve my bottom line.
Yes.
How I can improve my cash flow as such. So it becomes very micro.
Yes.
But that's okay. That's fine. That's what your needs are.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you have to understand your targets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And tailor making your communication
Yeah.
and your strategies to each target
Yeah,
market
exactly.
audience.
Yeah. So for us, like from Nano Malaysia perspective, if people to come to us, we would like to pre-brief them. So these are the things that we want to see from you. Be it your financial strength, the strength of your management team, or the technology that you are putting onto the table. Does it really have value to complement your financial needs and the strength of your management team? Yeah.
Dr. Rezal,
Sure.
what are some of the technologies that you're working on right now?
The one that we are most proud of, that we like to see Malaysia embracing it in a large scale, we like to go aggressively in the clean tech space. We have observed that there is a strong market trend, a lot of push around the world going into RE. I believe that most countries, they decided to free themselves, emancipate themselves from this so-called fossil fuel slavery. So people are going into solar, wind technology, hydro and whatnot. So since Malaysia, we have an abundance of sunlight. And I do see that we have failed to capitalize, to leverage on that rich resources. But although some initiatives have been done by the government to push solar-based technology to the market, but I think we've been using the wrong technology. Because if you notice that our skies are cloudy.
Yes.
So the kind of sunlight that we receive down to the ground is the kind which is dispersed or diffuse sunlight.
Yes.
And the current photovoltaic technology is not suitable for that. So what you see on the rating, 30% efficiency or 40%, it doesn't even reach half of that amount. So it's a waste of endeavor, waste of money. So we are introducing to the market where we can actually generate electricity based on the sunlight that we receive, tailor-made to that, through nanotech. Because nanotech is all about the science of precision. So we're able to match the material that we are putting on as a solar panel to match the type of sunlight that we're receiving in Malaysia. So the amount of sunlight we receive is the amount that we should generate and convert to electricity. And the beautiful aspect of it is we can augment the solar panel into windows.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So Elon Musk said that he has roof tiles for solar panels. I say, hey, Malaysia, we have windows. And there are more windows than roofs in Malaysia, especially tall buildings. So my vision of the future for Malaysia is to focus on that, converting urban areas into urban solar farm. Why build a solar farm out there in rural areas? Look at here. It's all about blue ocean strategy.
It's fascinating.
Totally untapped, totally been unthought of. So we are going to that. That will be our so-called aspiration for 2018.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we're going to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are the marketing strategies that you're going to put into place to actually get this product into the hands, the end-to-end, to actually get this into the hands of the customer?
Okay, well, one way we can do a top-down approach, or we can work with the housing developers. It becomes prefabricated or pre-built onto homes and buildings. And we can have the correct business model, cost-sharing benefits, because if you were to use or leverage on the electricity generated by the solar panel, obviously there'll be some cost saving, less dependency on the grid. So we can leverage on the net energy metering.
Right.
So if it's too expensive for the installation, we can work out a deal, such as, okay, the amount of cost saving, maybe we take 50% out of that, you keep 50% of the cost saving, perhaps. So it's all about working cleverly with the developer, as an agency, tech developer, and the building or the house owner.
Right.
So
it's win-win.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And this is the kind of ideas that I'm trying to inculcate in the organization, game-changing, innovative ideas, blue ocean approach. So we are always a step, or maybe 2 steps ahead of the curve, always pushing the boundaries of what we think is the norm or acceptable.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you could wave a magic wand,
Sure.
What is the one thing that you would like to have happen right now
Right now.
for Nano Malaysia?
For Nano Malaysia, I would think that the thing that I would like to focus on is more on strengthening the organization in terms of the softer side of our existence. We are a very small company, I would say, and that makes us very, very hungry, very, very scarce on resources. So if I were to have to wave that magic wand as such, I would like to focus more on the development of my staff, to make them happy and enjoy the journey that we are undertaking. It's tough.
So focus on the people.
People. Because in the past, there's always been about corporate governance. I would like to make a conscious effort in terms of transitioning into people governance, where people becomes the centerpiece of an organization as opposed to becoming a resource or a tool to achieve corporate objectives. That would be the transformation that I would like to undertake. Yeah. Because without people, there's no innovation.
Yes.
Without people, there's no monetization. Without people, there's no entrepreneurship.
That's
so
right.
the core is talent. So that would be the key goals of 2018. I would just want to game change, restructure the organization, and being small, and that's the best part of it. We're very nimble. We can change the org structure overnight because we're small.
Exactly.
And Jack Ma said, beware of companies below 30, and we are below 30. So
Right.
we can restructure, we can be nimble, we can go in literally to all nooks and crannies as such. Yeah. So that would be it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the one piece of advice you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur, someone who wants to IPO their company in, say, the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, from the technology, because I take a different spin in terms of to grow the value of a company. Some would prefer to focus more on the cash value, cash flow, cash in, cash out, and whatnot. We take a different philosophy, 180 shift, matter of fact. I'm sure a lot of VCs and private equity or investment banker would say, Rezal, what the hell are you doing? It's so unorthodox. We're looking at how we can create a catalog of commercially viable IPs or patents, which is technology driven, to grow the company, because we know how to unlock the financial or the commercial value of a company through patent evaluation, which has been severely undertapped or under-realized in Malaysia, where the growth of a company can be realized through patent strategy, putting them in the right place, and that will grow the company tremendously, even over 2-3 years' time. Even though the cash flow can be seen to be quite sketchy, but if you go to an IPO, there will be investors out there who can look at the value of the core assets, which is the IP.
Right.
Yeah, so we take a different spin out of it. And there's a lot of markets out there. For example, if you go to the UK, you have the Alternative Investment Market, AIM, which allows tech-driven SME and startups to really jump into the big playground through this path. So I would like to see this path to become mainstream at some point. So that would be my advice. Believe in the technology they're developing, create value around it, have a proper strategy, get some advice, because more often than not, aspiring entrepreneurs, startups, they will never have any solid financial historical.
It's
never.
impossible.
It's impossible. So what can they do within the realm of the resources? Up here, knowledge, how to grow it, understand the ecosystem, understanding who are the potential uptakers. You can create intangible values by growing this. And there are always people, there are patent lawyers out there who are technically trained, who can put on values. You can go on outright sales of your company or go on a listing on alternative investment market, such as the UK. And I'm sure in Malaysia, we're considering to set up a similar platform for such companies as such. So this will be the way of the future, especially under the fourth industrial revolution, tech-driven and disruptive.
Fantastic. I love your passion, Dr. Rezal.
Sure.
It really shines through.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best for
Thank you.
2018 and beyond.
Yeah.
Take care again. Thank you so much for your time.